Hi, I'm Sophie Howard, founder of Higher Tea, and we're putting together a short series of videos around different health challenges and areas of interest that people have because we have some tips and ideas and knowledge that may be valuable to you. And today's session is all about stress. So a bit like in the last video, which was all about improving your sleep and making sure you're setting yourself up for a good night's sleep every night and enjoying the benefits of being well rested and recharged and recovered each day. Stress is similar. It's kind of a lifestyle, modern sort of sign of our times, really, the amount that we all have to deal with in our day. So I find life quite stressful at times. I've got a young family, two children, a 1-year-old and a 3-year-old. Got a business. It's a busy household. We're lucky that we've got, everybody's in good health, but people face some terrible stresses in their lives, whether it's financial stress or health issues or family members or relationships, or you might have a boss from hell and you spend 40 plus hours a week in the company of someone who just really stresses you out. So there's a few things we can do to become more resilient. So some are kind of mental, how you think about the problem and frame it and decide how you choose to respond. And some of the things are physical, and these are making sure you're in sort of prime health. You're doing everything you can to have your body and mind fully functioning, alert, balanced, calm, rested, and really setting yourself up to be resilient, which is just as important as dealing with stress. Being resilient means that you're more likely to have the stressing things just bounce off you. So today we've got 6 different tips that are kind of related, and some of them relate a little bit to last week's stuff about sleep. So we'll run through them, and as always, really keen to hear your questions or comments, either publicly in the comments below, or always feel free to email me. I'm a qualified naturopath. I love helping people with whatever ailments or health challenges they have. So yeah, get in touch, and also send us any suggestions you might have for other topics that you'd like us to cover. So we go through some scientific research and some kind of current thinking and some of our own experience, in a bit of a mix of science and natural remedies and medicine in how we approach these things. So we look at evidence-based research, but also really favour natural herbal remedies over pharmaceuticals. So the first on the list is your food and your diet. So this shouldn't be surprising from a naturopath, but it's definitely true. The more processed, junky food or sugary, alcohol, all these things that you can put in your body's got to work pretty hard to break them down. You don't really derive a good steady burn of energy from them. So it's almost kind of like throwing petrol on a flame rather than burning a big slow log slowly. So that's the difference between, a quick fix of something sugary with empty calories and something really delicious and full of nutrition that's going to really nourish your body. So here's not the place to go into a full sort of prescriptive diet advice piece, but the more whole food you can eat, the more fruit and vegetables you can eat, especially vegetables and green vegetables. Smoothies with some of these superfoods in, like spirulina, or just snacking on almonds. There's some really small and simple things that you can switch in to your lifestyle that will really help your body and mind sort of function at full, on top form. So stress is also, it's kind of it's a choice. All the same surroundings in our environment are always there, but depending on how well you feel, it makes a huge difference to how you react to them. So when you're feeling really resilient and healthy, you're well slept and well rested, a lot of those things will just glance off, and you'll be really confident in your own judgment. And you might agree to disagree on something, or you might observe something but not let it really upset you. And that's a real difference between coping with your stress and feeling more resilient, and really looking after yourself. And then the other end of the spectrum is being sort of really run down and really kind of exposed to all those stresses. So we want to get you back to the other end of the spectrum, where you're feeling really well slept, well nourished, well rested. You spend a bit of time looking after yourself. So the rest of these tips are really around looking after yourself to avoid becoming stressed. One of the other things, as well as this whole food and eating well idea, is not having too much coffee. So it's a thing I'm guilty of occasionally, and I've always drank coffee, and first thing in the morning I just really would like a cup of coffee every day. And I've tried to drink green tea instead. I still do usually have a coffee, but I never drink coffee after lunch now. So more than 1 or 2 coffees a day is just not good for our bodies. It just really spikes a couple of hormones, adrenaline and cortisol, which are those flight or fight hormones. They really sort of spark up your body. It's a primal reptilian brain thing. It's telling our body, get ready for action. There's going to be a war, or there's a saber-toothed tiger we're going to have to run in a moment. Whatever it might be. I mean, those stresses in our modern life do not require a big physical reaction. So our bodies hang on to all the energy that's in the food we're eating in the wrong kind of way when we're stressed. It's quite a complicated biochemical thing, linking to lots of hormones and lots of digestive and immune things as well. But basically, the more stressed you are, the worse you digest your food, and the more it kind of goes on as belly fat rather than just being burned as a slow, steady supply of energy. So you can sort of see adding sugar and empty calories to your diet like adding petrol onto a flame. It sort of flares up and then it's gone. Whereas eating really good food that you digest properly is more like adding a big log that burns slowly. So really be mindful of what you're eating. Take the care to prepare it at home, and also sit down and enjoy it with other people, or sit down on your own and enjoy your meal, but try not to multitask and really savour it and be really appreciative of good food. That's my main message there. So not really prescribing any particular foods, but just that general eat more vegetables, leafy greens, fish, less sugar and chocolate and caffeine and alcohol. So sounds easy to do, but you can make some pretty small and easy switches gradually, and over time you'll have noticed a huge difference. Exercise is another big one. So I noticed that if I don't do exercise for a couple of days in a row, I just feel like climbing the walls. I get really crabby and cranky, don't think straight, I know I'm not at my best, I don't sleep as well. It's just tough. So it's hard to always finding time to schedule it. We're pretty busy around here, but I always try and get out for a quick run or go to yoga or do some yoga at home. And there's so many fun ways to exercise now. So it's not like you just have to go to some, boring old gym and do the same thing. There's all sorts of fun ways to get exercise and be active. So use your imagination. And one thing about exercise is it's a real chance to use it as a time to indulge some of your other interests. So you can exercise with friends and make it a social run or a walk, or go to the gym and meet a friend afterwards for a juice or a smoothie. Or you can use it as sort of enrichment time. So if you're just going to have time to run on the treadmill in a busy day at work, for that half hour you could listen to a really interesting podcast or an audiobook be read to. It's quite indulgent. So there's some other quite nice things you can do combined with exercise, so it's not a chore but something that's actually a real cherished highlight time of your day that you can be really protective over, because it's so important for your body and your mind that you get that oxygen and release. The endorphins that kick in will make you feel great and perform better for the rest of the day. So never begrudge the time to exercise. You'll always get a far higher payoff for the rest of your day from having invested that time. And there's also a huge cost to not exercising. We won't go into that, but you do need to exercise. So choose what works for you. And my own personal thing is I really like to get out in nature. So I live in New Zealand and we're really lucky here. We've got fabulous outdoor space. We're by the sea, got beautiful mountains and green bush. So I can, go out for a quick run and really feel like I've been out in the elements, and that's a real luxury. And I really miss that if I don't get some time outdoors. It doesn't sort of, going to the gym's not quite the same for me as that particular type of exercise. So try a few different things and see what works for you. So we've covered diet and exercise. Another thing relating to diet is not so much the macronutrients, which is having lots of the green vegetables and the fish and the healthy meal planning level, but also the micronutrients. So an amazing number of people are malnourished on some of those micronutrients, different vitamins or minerals that you only need a trace or tiny quantity of, but a whole load of other digestive processing or immune functions are hampered when they're not at the right levels. So a couple of tips there are just to really look for a good quality multivitamin, maybe one with quite a lot of B group vitamins and zinc. They're both really good for stress because they really help regulate that sort of energy burn rate. And passion flower is another herb that's very good for stress, but just make sure you buy it from a reputable supplier if you're buying it in supplement form. We stock different teas. We've got a tea for anxiety and a sleep tea and a few other sort of therapeutic teas. I'm a qualified naturopath, so these are hand blended in safe quantities. But the passion flower in our stress teas, particularly good one. And these are so much better than taking Prozac or head in the sand about whatever is stressing you out in life. It's really good just to have a natural approach where you can. So we mentioned this last time, but sleep, this is one of the biggest things with stress that makes a huge difference. So if you're sleeping well, you'll be so much more resilient and less stressed, and you'll start the day with more energy to exercise. You'll not need such an instant kick of energy in the form of caffeine or some junk food. You'll just, feel ready to face the day and be much more balanced. And not everyone can get 8 or 9 hours sleep, but certainly the hours before midnight are worth a lot more than the hours after midnight. And in the last video, we talked a little bit about that melatonin and serotonin balance. So those are 2 hormones that control how sleepy or wide awake you feel. And by going outside first thing in the morning, in that blast of fresh air and daylight, the daylight really breaks down a hormone called melatonin in your brain, which needs to be broken down in order for the other hormone, serotonin, to increase, which it does gradually during the day. And you really need a decent level of serotonin to be able to go off to sleep at night. So by getting up early, the same time every day, and getting some daylight, you'll notice that bedtime will go a lot better for you and you'll feel a lot sleepier when it's time to go to bed. And some other tips that we covered last week, so I won't go into too much detail. Don't spend too much time in front of screens or devices just before bed. And make your bed a lovely place. Make your room lovely, your bed lovely. You can burn some essential oils. Make sure it's a real haven or a retreat going to bed, and just enjoy that sleep. It's so important. Your body does so much healing and regeneration and restoration while you're asleep. So that's really, really important. So tip number 5, swallow a dead rat. So I kind of joke about this a bit because it's a real English saying, and it really appeals to my sort of English sense of humour. So if you swallow a dead rat, the rest of your day will get better. If you start the day by swallowing a dead rat, so it's just a repulsive thought. But the idea has got something behind it, which is that get the tricky business out the way first. Do whatever's on your mind or going to be difficult, just do it. And whether it's an awkward phone conversation for work or a difficult conversation with someone, or time to address some debt, or you're not happy with something with your children's school, or you're worried about something, if whatever's on your mind, the best thing for your stress level is to do something about the main thing that's on your mind. So people have such different circumstances, and it's hard for me to talk in a specific way because the range of things are so different. But the principle is that whatever's on your mind, just schedule a time, think about your approach, tell someone that you're going to do it. Maybe you need to resign from your job, or maybe you need to join Weight Watchers, or whatever it might be. You know that there's something drastic that needs to be done that's going to be a real stepping stone, real shift in your lifestyle, or one awkward call, or whatever it might be. You'll feel so much better when it's done. You'll feel like a new person. That weight will just lift off your shoulders and you'll be just wishing you'd done it sooner. So my advice there around stress, whatever's on your mind, get to it, sort it. It'll be maybe not as bad as you think, and whatever, it's going to be done. So face your demons and celebrate when it's done. And I hope that goes well for you. And then the last thing on the list is meditation and mindfulness. So really popular topical thing at the moment. Everybody's meditating. So I really enjoy Tim Ferriss's podcast, and he talks to a lot of people about their morning routines, because this is such a key way to set yourself up for a good day. Top performers are not, ambling through their day, wondering what they'll do next. They're up, they're active, they do stuff, they get it done. Their time is precious. And what's a really strong recurring theme in all these people that Tim Ferriss interviews is meditation. So it's not necessarily a lot of time, it's just very deliberately spent time clearing your head, thinking about what you want to be grateful for, what you want to achieve, thinking about some goals, thinking about people around you, however you want to do it. And there's a lot of different ways. There's transcendental meditation, there's a little app called headspace.com, which is great. It's a Buddhist monk who's set up this app with short guided meditations, which is a really easy way to get into meditation. And this has proven to be such a huge way to manage stress and just to be feeling more resilient and maintain your peak performance. So great for your mind, but also your body as well, because it really reduces all those hormone levels that are triggered by stress. It really resets things. It'll often help with digestion, even your immune system's linked to stress, so there's a really strong link there. The more you can do to bring your stress levels down, the more your immune system's able to fight off all the bugs going around, and you'll be healthier and feeling better and sleeping better. So can so strongly encourage you to take control of your stress, and don't indulge this whole sort of mindset around I'm so busy, I'm so stressed. Try not to be. It's not a thing to be proud of. It's a really damaging thing to your long-term health to be too stressed for too long. It affects your immune system, your family, and your health. So some tips here, just five or six short ones. But it's a really, really important thing to know how stressed you are and what you're going to do to manage your stress. So hopefully in this short video you've had some tips and ideas, and hopefully it'll trigger you to make a couple of small changes or more, maybe even some big changes. That would be great, as long as you know you're heading in the right direction, and just try something and see where it gets you. So Higher Tea sells a few different health-related teas. You can check them out on the website, highertea.com. It's higher-tea. And there's some teas there that are caffeine-free, which might be useful if you're trying to wean yourself off the coffees. And there's also some stress and anxiety and things like our chamomile teas, great for sleep. So have a look, and if you have any questions about either the teas or any of the products or your own health issues, I'm a qualified naturopath, would love to help you with anything to do with your health or lifestyle or well-being. So thank you very much, and pop your questions and comments below, and we'll look forward to talking in the next video. Thanks!